Flip, 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 Flip Weekly.
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Matt from flipweekly.com. You're listening to the Flip Weekly podcast, a podcast all about making money. We do that through reselling. We go to garage sales, we go to thrift stores, op shops, find stuff online, and we're trying to make some money while we do it. Now, welcome back. I haven't been talking about thrifting in a while. Last week, I graced you with a podcast about my early days of, I guess, reselling in a way. If you haven't listened to that, go back and listen. It's a interesting story, and I get a bit emotional about eBay people talking about SEO, considering that they haven't ranked for anything in their life, and that was basically all that I did before this. But anyway, this week, we've had a good week. We are back to business as usual. Prior to this week, I was extremely busy. I didn't get a chance to hit up really any thrift stores or any garage sales. I mean, I hadn't been to a garage sale in weeks, if not months. No, months, if not years, but I mean, it's been a while. And I really need to get back into the swing of things, because in November we have the garage sale trail coming up, and last year at the garage sale trail we made so much money and we found so much cool shit. If you're unfamiliar, in 2 weeks out of November, 2 weekends, all of the east coast of Australia seemingly have a garage sale. It's put on by the local councils. They must have some funding, because I've already started seeing the advertising ramp up on social media. They must have a dedicated staff talking about garage sales or talking about this event, because now that I've mentioned it, you're going to start seeing it too. 2 weekends out of the year, everyone signs up for these garage sale events. They host them, they try to make some money, and that's what we do too. We look through the map on the Garage Sale Trail website and we hit up as many as we can. I went last year on both weekends, and I went once with my sister. I went once, and I think 3 times by myself, which is usually the norm when I'm doing garage sales. And each time I found literal holy grail items, as well as items that sold within minutes. I think I made over $1,000 for each time that I hit these up. So every single time this comes up for the past 2 years, I've been going to them. So I have just started going to garage sales again, just to see what's out there, just to sort of get back into the mix of things. I feel like, an athlete that's been that's currently just getting over the off season, and I'm doing my my pre-season warm-ups, slowly getting back into it. I went to 2 this weekend, and then maybe next week we'll go to a few more until I'm race fit, right? Until I'm raring to go in November. But really, these 2 garage sales that I went to over the weekend were really disappointing, and they were disappointing because the pricing was really, really high. And I don't know if this is because garage sales in 2025 are primarily to make money and not to declutter, or if it's people that are trying to make more money because times are tough. So the 2 that I looked at on Garage Sale Finder, the Australian website to find garage sales on the weekend, both advertise video games. Now, I'm not so much a video game reseller. I don't just focus on video games. I, to be honest, don't really like buying them. They don't give me that dopamine hit as much as something else does, as well as much as other categories do. The only dopamine I get from video games is if I find them really, really cheap, and then I see that they're selling for a lot of money. So the console bundles, things of that nature, I'm just not that excited for them, and I don't feel the need to buy them every single time I see them out in the wild. So I knew that they would be gone by the time I got there. They're advertised online. The people that buy and sell video games would either rock up really early, or they would send a message before the garage sale date and they would go out and pick them up. And man, I'm completely fine with that. I don't have any problems with people hustling like that. I just knew and I sort of accepted that when I went there, they'd be gone. And my mindset was, well, let's see what else that they have that maybe these video game resellers look over. So I head out to the first garage sale and I'm pulling in. It's only around 5 minutes from my place. One of the reasons why I dragged myself out of bed that morning was because I knew it was just up the road, and if I wanted to, I could just come back, jump straight back into bed, call it a day, right? I've done my duty for the day. I went to a single garage sale. That's it. That's my task. So I pull up and I see somebody pull up behind me, and this guy gets out of his car and he fucking starts running across the road into this sale. And I'm just thinking, oh, this is so embarrassing. I've only ever seen this once before, and I had my sister Sam and my mum in the car with me. And we all were basically like Nelson from The Simpsons, where we just point and laugh, right? It's hard to say no judgment, but it's just such a funny thing to look at. A grown man getting out of his car, sprinting into a garage sale because he's seen me pull up in front of him. So this guy sprints across and I'm getting out of the car. I'm like, oh, well, that guy's obviously going to try and get these video games. I walk in there and I start checking out everything else. Meanwhile, fucking Usain Bolt over there is checking out these video games, and I don't think he's very happy. Okay, so I'm looking, there's not much. Everything has stickers on them, and they have the prices that they are online. Now, that is not a good sign, because this person has obviously looked up each and every single item to see what the recommended retail price is, and also to see what they sell for on eBay. So that gives me the insight that this is going to be a bad sale. So I get round to the video games and I see two bundles, a PlayStation 2 bundle and an Xbox 360 bundle. They all have the video games with them. They have a couple of controllers. All the games are pretty shit. Like there's nothing that stands out to me. You know, I play flipvidya.com all the time. I can usually tell a video game title if it's going to be worth flipping just based on the title or the front graphic alone. If you haven't done that before, check it out at flipvidya.com. But yeah, the games are like Buzz, SingStar, there's some Call of Duty and some GTA. There's really not that much. And the Xbox 360 bundle was priced at $200 and the PlayStation 2 bundle was priced at $250. Now they're getting up there in prices. I usually stick with around $100 in my mind for how much a console will sell for on eBay. Just like a general guide so that I know what to pay if I find these out in the wild. And then obviously you add on the controllers, a bunch of games, and there's really no room for profit here, if there's even going to be a profit. I think for a PlayStation 2, for it to be priced $250, you need the console, you need a couple of controllers, you need a couple of really, really good games, and that just gets you to $250. So I'm looking at this, I look it over, I do like a little to myself and I move on. But this other guy that sprinted in, Matt Shervington, he is not happy. He's not happy seeing this. I think that's the sole reason he went, because he didn't look at anything else. And he says to the lady, here's my business card. Call me if these bundles are still here at the end of the day. Obviously, he's going to offer peanuts for these things. He's going to say, look, these didn't sell. I'll give you like $50 each for them. I don't know if this is the amount, but he's going to basically do that. That's the tactic. And look, it's fine, whatever. I wouldn't really do it. I have printed out flyers before to put in letterboxes, but I don't know. Just haggling at garage sales now is not something that I like to do. I do not like the feeling of offering a number and then seeing like the person be a bit disappointed. I always say, like, even when I was invited into those people's homes like a month or two ago, I was so hesitant to throw out numbers because I don't want them to feel upset that they've made a deal with me. I don't want them to be like, oh, fine. I genuinely want the other person to be happy. So I see these figures on the video games. I'm like, look, I'm not going to lowball. I'm not going to say I'll give you $50 for everything. I'm just going to accept that this is what they want, and that's it. So the guy gives his business card. and he is going to leave, right? He's going to get back into his beat up Commodore, but he's not going to go there first. He's going to look to me, who's taking photos, who's using the camera on my phone to try and get some clips for social media, taking like photos and some videos of like these gaming consoles, looks to me and says, "You need permission to do that," right? I just look at the guy, I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck, man? Like, what is your problem, bro? Like, this guy is upset that he couldn't come in here and spend like $10 on a PlayStation 2 and some video games. So he's just going to start moping about and like policing the garage sale like he's some sort of like Westfield security guard. What's more embarrassing, like sprinting into this family's garage sale or like chastising me because I didn't have a fucking permission slip to use my phone? Like, do not be this person that runs into a sale. I swear to God. Like, I swear to God, next time this happens, I'm going to get out of my car even faster. I'm going to sprint after the person. I'm going to sprint as fast as I can just to see how this person reacts. Like, mind your own business. If this is you at a garage sale, please do not do this. Don't look at my phone. Don't sprint in and like have a fucking little hissy fit that you couldn't get what you wanted. Don't do that. So we didn't clean up at those garage sales. I went to the next one and there was nothing there either. There was no sprinters running into that, and we didn't clean up at those. Okay, we didn't do anything. We didn't have any luck at the garage sales, but that doesn't mean that we didn't have any luck throughout the week, because we fucking did. We did. We had luck at the thrift store, and we had luck at Facebook Marketplace, because after that Saturday garage sale, what's left to do in the day except mindlessly scroll on Facebook Marketplace for hours on end? So let's get into it straight away. I know you'll read the title of this podcast. We're going to talk about that. We're going to get into secondhand opinions. I'm going to tell you about one of the weirdest collector's market that I've ever seen. I might actually just start with that, because this was so weird that I couldn't even write out the title or the names of these brands in the newsletter, because it's going to negatively affect like the deliverability of the newsletter or get marked as spam. So let's just get straight into it. Let's fucking get straight into it. So before I tell you exactly what this item is that I bought from a Savers, I want to give you a bit of a backstory on what I would consider one of the strangest things that people collect, okay? And I need you to bear with me. It's a tiny bit long, but I guarantee the payoff at the end of it is worth it, okay? Because I'm going to tell you about this category, this niche, and then it's going to be on your mind. I guarantee you even tell other people about it because it's so fucking weird. And it's something that you're able to make a lot of money with too, okay? So before I was born, back in the 1980s, very early 1990s, a lot of pharmaceutical companies, they employed sales reps. And these sales reps would go to doctors' offices, they would talk to like the medical practitioners, and their entire job was to influence and sort of push the drugs that they represented onto their patients. So it would go from drug rep to doctor to patient. That's what the little flow chart would be. So they were basic salespeople, they're basic marketers. That's their job. If a patient comes into a doctor with a stomach ache, the doctor should refer the patient to the drug that these people are pushing. And the doctor might get a kickback. I don't really know how that worked back in the day, but it's a win-win if the patient gets better, the doctor gets paid, and the pharmaceutical rep makes some money. So that was really lucrative back in those 80s and 90s. And more of these drug companies, they were employing people to engage in that sort of pharmaceutical marketing. But really, like today, attention spans were short, right? So what did they do to keep these drugs on doctors' minds, on patients' minds? They would leave these little like swag, like they would leave like little pieces of merch, some promo items, things that you would call leave pieces. They were basically small gifts, right? And they had the branding of the specific drug or like the pharmaceutical company in general. So leaving behind, there would be things like pens, there would be mugs, there was magnets, anything promotional that they can slap their logo on. Just go to a website like Vistaprint and look at all the different promo items you can buy. It was basically that slapped with like a drug company's name logo on it. But really, over time, people started to think that this was like just a tiny bit unethical, right? Just a tiny bit, just a tad. So why should doctors be influenced by marketers? Because shouldn't they solely be focused on like the well-being of the patient? It doesn't matter if they're getting kickbacks from drug companies. It should be really the drug they're referring to the patient, the one that's going to be like most helpful for them, right? Common sense said yes. So in the early 2000s, in America it was 2008, these sort of ethical and moral standards, they caught up, and the promo items, the mugs, the pens, the clocks, the fucking anything, magnets, did I say magnets? They became prohibited. They were outlawed, illegal. No longer could the doctors receive these sort of coffee mugs with the logos on them. They couldn't hang up the clocks on the wall with the mascots. They couldn't have anything like that. It was all illegal. It was all frowned upon. So we fast forward to this day, 2025, and people have moved on from Funko Pops and the next best thing to collect, I'm not kidding, are these items. I'm not kidding. People have way too much spare fucking money. People are collecting these pharmaceutical drug rep promo items from back in the day. So I'm talking about Xanax mugs. Xanax advertising pharmaceutical mugs, selling on eBay, sold, by the way, not active listings, sold $250. Right? A Zoloft wall clock sold $125. Really fucking weird, right? There is a whole subreddit, which is like an online forum dedicated to collecting this shit. It's a subreddit called Pharma Rep Collectibles. It has tens of thousands of members on it, and they all share the items that they're finding or that they're buying or that they're collecting online. And some of this shit is so fucking weird. Like, I'm talking a cookie jar branded with Quaaludes, a Quaaludes cookie jar, the drug made famous by Wolf of Wall Street. If you've seen that movie, it's the drug that Leonardo DiCaprio takes, crashes his Lamborghini. A Quaaludes cookie jar, right? There's other ones. There's fucking morphine mints. A fucking mint tin created by the company that makes morphine. I mean, the company is called Cadian, and they're fucking morphine mints. What the fuck? There's like OxyContin mugs. Coffee mugs with OxyContin. And like has the name OxyContin, and then underneath it says like its scientific name, oxycodone HCI controlled release tablets. Warning, maybe habit forming. Yeah, no shit. We know that now. So these are all promo items from back in the day with drug companies. And it's just so fucking weird, but I was able to join this sort of elusive club of people that have these drug rep items, because what is it that I found in a thrift store this week? I think it's even more hilarious than an Oxy mug, okay? I think it's more hilarious than a fucking Zoloft wall clock. This is something that I don't think you would have ever seen before. I don't think it's anything that anyone has ever used before. I don't know why the company created it. I have so many questions and I don't want the answers to it. It is a plate and it is branded with Viagra. It has a Viagra logo on the top and the bottom, and in the middle of the plate, it has a tiger winking back at you. I don't understand. It's one of those plates that's made of like plastic. I think it's like melamine or melamine, whatever it's called. And yeah, Viagra on the top and the bottom, and this cheeky little lion giving us a little wink. What? Like, what the fuck? What was Viagra thinking? Were they thinking we should like give this to people to display or to eat off of? Like, imagine some poor dude that goes to his doctor's office. He's just sitting there and he's explaining his problems. He's pouring his heart out. He realizes that, like, the best of his youth has passed him by. He's so embarrassed. He doesn't want to be there, and just as he's about to leave with his prescription from the doctor for Viagra, the doctor says, "Hey mate, just wait a second," and hands over this fucking commemorative plate. Like, this guy, this poor guy, like, thanks doc, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this? I'm hiding the pills from my wife, I'm hiding the pills from the general public from seeing it, and now I have a Viagra plate with a winking lion, a winking fucking tiger staring back at me. Dude, what is the go with this? And like, I found this plate in the Savers for 99 cents. It was sitting like at the front of the store, and I had to pick this thing up and carry it with me all around Savers. And man, you best believe that I had that thing so close to my chest that nobody was going to be seeing that winking tiger, because I would have been just as embarrassed as that guy that was in doctor's office, man. I can imagine the staff seeing this in the back and just having like a cheeky little chuckle to themselves, being like, why would somebody create a Viagra plate? Why? So there are no sold listings for this plate. Not a surprise, to be honest. So when listing this up, I have to go with my gut. But before I go with my gut, I decide to post a thread on that exact same Pharma Rep collectible subreddit, you know, the online forum, just to see what people are thinking about this, okay? I wanted to show them my 99-cent thrift store find, and I wanted to see if people were like, oh, that's cool, or if people were like, this is boring. Well, I think people thought it was very, very interesting because it has currently received almost 2,000 upvotes on the subreddit. Just think of those, if you're not familiar with Reddit, as like likes, like Facebook likes. And it has received 25,000 views on the subreddit. I swear to God, it's one of the most upvoted images on that entire subreddit. I've just checked. It is it's the 6th most upvoted subreddit of all time. Now, this subreddit has been around for over a year, and I mean, people are getting behind this Viagra plate. Ironically, the 5th most upvoted image of all time on the subreddit was a post by somebody who had a title of "Thought you might like this for your next formal event," and that was of a tie with Viagra branding on it. So some sales rep back in the day would walk into a doctor's office with a Viagra tie on. Yeah, this is a very interesting subreddit. I recommend checking it out. Like, you're going to be seeing some really weird shit on this subreddit. Like, I'm looking at it now and there's like a Xanax ball. There's like an OxyContin gorilla plush bear. Like, it's just so weird. Like, hey, would you like a Lexipro clock? A fentanyl clock? Like, oh my God, an Ambien clock? It's just so unusual. And I'm just thinking, like, who are the people that are buying this too? Like, who wants a Lexipro mouse at their computer desk? Who wants a Prozac clock on their, counter? So unusual. Hey, would you like to play some cards? I've got my Benadryl playing cards right here. So yeah, posted that there, 25,000 views. It's sort of like really unusual to see some of the comments coming in too. Like, people are saying like, this is a grail item, like a holy grail item. Other people are saying like, oh my God, that's so cool. That's a great score. There's somebody saying I would do some blow off this plate, which is funny. But yeah, it's just such a strange niche. People are collecting this sort of stuff, and if you find it at a thrift store at a garage sale, you should definitely pick it up. Like, there's money to be made from this category, and I only know about the category because I follow somebody on Instagram named Heather, who I've talked about before. She found a bag of pens from Goodwill, America's version of Savers, for $3, and most people would walk straight past them because it's just a bag of pens, right? Like inside of a grab bag, the same stuff you see on the Savers shelves. But the pens inside the grab bag were drug wrap pens, and the value of them in total was like over $100. So I've linked that video in the in the Flip Weekly newsletter, but if you just want to check out Heather on Instagram, her handle is Cosmic Deal Heather, and she has some interesting content. Oh, I was about to say content like OxyContin. Fucking drugs are in my brain. But yeah, check her out. There's some interesting stuff to be found in this category. And in terms of what I've listed the plate up for, I decided to list it up for $99.95. I have no idea if I'm going to get it. I mean, I hope that it doesn't even break any eBay rules. Like, I hope it doesn't get taken down. So I'm going to have to let you know if it's still up. A Viagra joke there for you. Anyway, moving on. We moved from like a Savers to a Salvos, and I saw this book cart in the Salvos, and it said young people's books. So as a young person, it drew me to it, and you know, I see these sort of like carts, and I just think that maybe there's been some oversight, maybe like so much excess stock has been chucked in here and people aren't going to be looking at it as much. So I went through it, and one of the first things I found, which I thought was interesting, it was this silver large coffee table book, and the title of the book was called The Collection 2000 Australian Stamps, which is like a stamp album from 25 years ago, from 2000. And inside of it, I just wanted to open it up and see, maybe somebody like pasted some stamps in here. There was none, but there was actually some uncut sheets of stamps from the Winter Olympic Games in 2002. Now, Australia competed at those 2002 Olympic Games, and I think it was our most successful Winter Olympic Games. You know, winter here in Australia, we don't get the snow really. I mean, we do, but we don't. We don't really have like that sort of culture of snow games, so we don't do well at those games. But this games, we did really well on accident. Everyone in Australia knows Stephen Bradbury. He coasted to success in the ice skating event. He basically let everyone else go in front. He hung at the back, and then on the final turn, everyone in the front was like fighting over positions. They fell down, and Stephen just coasted to the gold medal. Now there was like 3 or 4 uncut sheets of Stephen Bradbury postage stamps, and I thought, wow, this is really cool. I looked up their value. Unfortunately, they're not worth much. They're like $15 a sheet. There was like 3 sheets here, so I was like, oh, these are so cool. I took a photo of them for the newsletter, but I left them behind. Just not worth enough money. Hopefully someone else will pick them up, because that's a bit of history, and Stephen Bradbury deserves his gold medal just for like skating through life on that achievement. The other set of books that I found in this book cart has been on my bucket list for a while. I've always wanted to go to a garage sale and find like a huge collection of Asterix books. Now, these Asterix books are extremely nostalgic for me, right? Because they were like the first book that I grabbed in primary school when my class was in the library and I pretended to read, basically. You know, where I can't remember the amount of times that these Asterix books were in my life, and I'm flipping through the pages, and I'm doing that just to like make sure that my crimes in school were going unnoticed. I need to pretend that I was doing something like reading. So they're comic books, by the way. They're like Asterix the Ghoul. We have Obelix. That's really all I can remember, because I wasn't reading these books. I was just flipping through them. But they go for decent money on eBay, and I found 6 of them. And the collector's market's pretty big. So if you can find like 3, like usually when you find one of these, you find a lot of them. That's why I'm hoping one day to find like a huge box full of them at a garage sale. But if you find 3, you can usually get around $50. So I found 6 of these for $1 each. So I'm going to be able to get about $100. I've listed them for $100 exactly. I already have people watching them. I think they will sell because they're not that prominent on eBay. But yeah, if you find any Asterix books in the wild, pick them up, especially if you can get them for $1. To me, they're sort of on the same level as Tintin. Asterix and Tintin, both their collector's market, I think if you had a Venn diagram, would be overlapping. So yeah, find those Asterix books and pick them up. The other book that I found this week in a thrift store was a signed Gordon Ramsay book. Like, Gordon loves signing books. If If you check out his cookbooks, always open them up and try and find the autograph, because you will be able to turn that book into at least $100. Gordon is so famous. He has so many fans. If you find the book with the signature, somebody will eventually buy it for at least $100. And with the signatures, depending on the book, depending on like if it's a hardcover, soft cover, at times you can really ask for whatever you want. So like there was this exact same book, this exact same cooking book with Gordon's signature on eBay for about $40. But I'm just literally going to ignore that, list mine up for $100. You don't know how the searches are going to work. Somebody might come across yours before the $40 one. People don't always do price comparisons when they're looking at these sort of things. So I wouldn't even worry about that, seeing that $40 one. I know that mine will sell eventually, and $100 from a $5 cooking book is going to be amazing. But if you're looking for signatures, autographs inside cooking books, Gordon is up there as being one that will sell just because he's so popular. But the holy grail, one that I would love to find, is Anthony Bourdain. Anthony, I think, may even be more famous than Gordon Ramsay inside that sort of community. Outside the community, not so much. But Anthony Bourdain, rest his soul, he passed away, sells for a lot of money if you can find one of his cooking books, any one of his books, in a thrift store. There are recent sold comps for Anthony Bourdain's cooking books between $500 and $1,000. So yeah, if you're in a Savers, if you're in a Salvos, a Vinnie's, in the book, in the home cooking aisle, look for Gordon Ramsay, look for Anthony Bourdain, and open them up and look for signatures. It's a very easy way to turn a $5 book into $100 plus. Now, one other thing I'll quickly tell you about, because I just couldn't believe that I found them. I was in a Save the Children's op shop, and I found 2 video games which you don't really see in thrift stores anymore. They were God of War and God of War 2 on the PlayStation 2, priced at just $3. And I was just thinking, like, why are these out here? Like, this Save the Children's op shop doesn't get that much stock. Their stock rotation's really low, so it's unusual that they would get these video games and not look them up, because you can usually get about $30 each for these games. I paid $6 for both of them. They were both complete with the manuals. That's one thing you got to check in the video games when you're buying them, make sure they have their manuals, make sure the discs are fine. But yeah, you can get $30 each for them. I got both of them for $6, loaded them up for $60, and they sold within 24 hours for that full $60 amount. So sometimes you can get lucky in thrift stores for video games, and I'm just talking about it because it didn't blow my mind. It did whatever a tier less than blowing my mind is. It made me just go, huh, you know. To find those in a thrift store for $6 in total. If there was just one, I probably wouldn't have bought it. 3 into 30 doesn't really do much for me, but 6 into 60, yeah, sure, why not? Just because they can be loaded up together, there's 2 of them. That was just cool, and I think that just leads us straight into what I sold. And what I sold this week, the title of this podcast, I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but it just makes me excited thinking about it and talking about it, because I was not expecting it, and it's just really, really fucking cool. So back in early September, I drove so far out of the way to go and pick up an item that I found on Facebook Marketplace. It was sitting on Facebook Marketplace for multiple days. I didn't immediately send a message, 5 minutes after it had went live. I slept on the decision. And the reason I slept on the decision was because it was $150, and what it was for was basically what amounts to a sticker book and a box of stickers. I'm not even kidding. It was a sticker book and a box of stickers. This was a item from the late 90s. It was a WWF, which is wrestling, sticker book. It had a box of 100 unopened packs of stickers, and then it had around 500 loose stickers. They were all doubles from the original owner of the item. So it was up on Marketplace, $150. I saw it and I thought, wow, this reminds me of my childhood. I've always wanted this. Maybe I should buy it as an adult. If you want to hear more about it, go back. I did an entire episode on this. If you want to see photos, check out the Flip Weekly newsletter. There's a full write-up there. And it was a bit of a gamble to be spending $150 on this sticker book, right? Because there were no real comps. There was one comp, and the other thing that I was going on when I decided to buy this was that there was one person saying this was the rarest WWF sticker album of all time, and it took them like 4 years to buy it. So I sort of was like taking a gamble. I didn't know if this was going to sell, and I thought it's $150. It's not the end of the world. I still think it's really cool. Let's do it. So I drove all the way out there, picked up the item. I posted the video on social media. Jump onto TikTok and Instagram if you want to see it. I thought, well, I might come to regret this purchase. But no regrets, not in this timeline, because not only did it sell, and you're going to be shocked at the sale price. Well, not really shocked because it's in the title, but you're not going to believe who fucking bought this thing. So the sale price, we've turned $150 into $850 in less than 1 month. So somebody out there, who I will reveal in a second, has decided to spend $850 on a fucking sticker book. $850 in this fucking economy. In this economy where we can't buy anything because everything's just too expensive. This person has thought, well, this isn't too expensive, I'll be buying this. So the buyer sent me through a message and they asked if I could ship to the US. I said no, because Australia Post currently doesn't ship to the US. However, there's an update on that. We will be opening shipping again very soon, but they said that's fine. They're going to have it shipped to the UK and forwarded onto the US using a mail forwarding service. And I'm just thinking, it's a bit of an effort for some stickers, mate. Like, who is this fucking person? So for the first time ever, I looked into who this person was. I'm not fucking stalking, right? All I did was click on their username on eBay. I've never done this for a buyer before because in most cases, I don't give a fuck who the person is. Sometimes I'll click on them when they send through an offer to see if they're within Australia or if they're overseas, just basing like whether or not I'll accept the offer, if I'm going to have to pay for shipping or if they're going to be paying for shipping. So I click on their username and I can see that their username contains the word pawn. Now, PAWN, not the other one. And I'm like, oh, okay, this guy must run a pawn shop. He might be buying it to resell. And I'm thinking, well, that's all well and good. They can resell if they want. I mean, they're buying this not from the source, right? They're buying it from somebody who is also reselling. So who knows how much money there's going to be in this item. They must think there's a bit. So I see that, click on their username, and then on the eBay page, they've filled it out. And on their eBay About page, they've included information on their social media pages, which is essentially saying, my social media is this, is my eBay username minus the numbers. So again, out of sheer curiosity, I jumped onto social media because I thought, well, this person who is buying the sticker book and stickers will eventually post them on their profile. So I'll just check it out now so that in the future it will be in my history and I can just go back and I might be able to see my item there. I don't know, it's like a bit cool to see where your item ends up and to see the end person enjoying it. I followed the link to Instagram and I couldn't believe it. I honestly couldn't believe it. The Instagram bio was, I work at Gold and Silver Pawn Shop. If that doesn't ring a bell, if you're not familiar, you would be familiar or at least have heard of the History Channel TV show Pawn Stars. This dude that bought the sticker book and stickers is a cast member. He started the show in season 21. He went from a part-time employee to a full-time employee. You know what? Let me introduce him.
Hey guys, Chubb's buddy Santos is now full-time, not part-time. Just letting you know.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
So you guys got to train him everything to do.
I can teach you everything you need to know. I just don't want to. Why don't I train him on how to go to the corner store real fast?
You can start doing your real job instead of having Jake do it for you.
Dad, you literally have the least to do here. Why don't you train him?
I have real work to do, all right?
I'm hungry. Is it lunchtime yet?
That's something Rick could teach you all about.
Teach him everything.
Jake, send Santos to go get me some energy drinks.
I'll tell you what, I'll go get some energy drinks, finish those, and show Santos what he needs to learn.
See, and now you messed up because now you got to do Chum's job too.
It shouldn't be that hard.
Still hungry, though.
That hilarious clip that you just listened to was the introduction of a man named Santos who joined Pawn Stars. He was one of Chumley's best friends. He was a Chumley buddy. He is on the television show. I don't know if the show still runs. I think the show finished up in season 23. It went from, how long ago did that show start, man? Like, I sometimes put that on for background noise on YouTube because it's sort of interesting to me. The book section, when they bring on Rebecca to talk about rare books, that I find interesting. And I also find Rick's story interesting from Pawn Stars. Entire cast sort of comes across as like, you know, fucking idiots at times when they're not reading out their rehearsed lines. But man, Rick is really fucking smart if you go into his backstory. The dude knows what he is talking about. But yeah, this Santos guy has bought the sticker book and the stickers. It's being shipped over to the UK to then be forwarded to the US for him. And I just think it's so funny to see an item that was bought on Facebook Marketplace in farmland 2 hours from Sydney, now off to Las Vegas to the Gold and Silver pawn shop. The pawn shop that we see on TV, probably the most famous pawn shop in the entire world. And man, I just think like if I knew who this guy was prior to the sale, I could have totally recreated some stupid line from Pawn Stars where he offers $850 and I'm like, best I can do is $960, or let me call in a buddy to like look it over. I shouldn't be surprised that he works at that shop because he did negotiate that price down to $850. It was $1,000, dropped down to $850. I accepted it. There was like $100 on top for shipping and taxes and shit. It was a lot of money that he spent on this. So I'm looking forward to seeing that come up on his social media. Hopefully within the next, I mean, how long is it going to take to get there? Maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But yeah, that's a really cool flip and a bit of a famous one too. I mean, it would have been better, like no offense to Santos, it would have been better if it was sold to Chum or Rick or his son to actually end up in the pawn shop. Who knows if it will, but how fucking cool is that? To sell an item that is now going to the famous Las Vegas pawn shop, the Gold and Silver pawn shop. Insane. And I'm so glad that I took the risk on that $150 item. I'm so glad that I drove all the way out there to bumfuck nowhere to get this. And it's just really fucking cool. And it goes to show that the home runs that you can find on Marketplace aren't the ones that are like snapped up instantly. Like, you know, the Nintendo GameCube bundles that sell within 60 seconds. You know, this was up for days before I pulled the trigger. So if you just know your shit, or if you just like have that passion or that curiosity about certain items, you can make money from it. You know, the opportunities are there. You just need to seize them. So thanks to Santos for buying that item. And yeah, it really made my week. Not so much like I should have been excited about making like close to $1,000 from a sticker book, but here I am just being like, oh shit, it's off to the Gold and Silver pawn shop. That's so fucking cool. But yeah, we have a ton of other sales to get to. Let's just quickly run through them. And the first one, you know, we went from such a good positive sale to something that is a bit disappointing. I shouldn't feel disappointed, but I feel a tiny bit disappointed. You're going to be surprised to see it here. You shouldn't be. It is the Sony Walkman that I said I was going to fix. This is the Sony WM/2, the very first, well, technically second Sony Walkman ever created. I got it for free. No, did I get it for free or did I pay I think I paid like $10 or $15 for it, and I got a couple of other free ones with it. But it's the portable cassette player. The guy that I got it from said that he couldn't get it to work, and me being me, I was like, oh yeah, I repair these things. In reality, I've repaired one in the past, and you know, I'm a one-trick pony. If the belt can get replaced and it works, then I'm a fucking genius, right? If there's anything else, then I have no idea what I'm doing. So I had been waiting a while to receive the belt. I opened it up and I saw that the old belt had disintegrated and broken. So I bought a new one online. I spent maybe $15 or so. I got it back here. I installed it. I chucked a cassette in it to see if it would play. Nothing. didn't work, didn't play. And, you know, I looked online to see what else it could be. You know, you can replace the center gear on it. It's usually the center gear from what I've read online. It costs about $50 to do that. But I was just thinking to myself, I really don't want to give myself something else to do. Like, my to-do list already is so high, and I just know that if I don't sell this and I just have it sitting on my workbench, it's going to really bum me out every time I look at it, because I'm going to think I should be working on that, but there's just so much else that I need to do. So I decided to list it up on a Thursday night for $150, parts only, and I accepted a best offer of $125 on Saturday morning. And the person that bought it from me, they literally sent through a message and talked about specific parts that they're going to try and replace. So hopefully that person can get it to work. I couldn't do it, but that's fine, you know. If they can spend $50 on the center gear, replace it, and it fixes it, and they can either keep it for themselves or resell it. Remember, this thing was worth $500. It is a piece of music history, piece of portable media history. What really revolutionized, or what really brought into mainstream, mainstream culture, that you could listen to music on the go from cassettes. Like, it's really fucking cool. The very first Walkman, second one technically, but it's just a name thing. So yeah, that's why it has so much value. And with that said, the fact that I couldn't repair this one doesn't mean I'm going to stop trying. I'm still going to find these. I'm still going to buy these if I find them in the wild. I know how to do one thing with these, which is repairing the belt. And if I can get them for $1 or $2 and I can repair the belt and get them working again, that's one less thing in the fucking trash, in the fucking landfill. That's my angle for this, by the way. I'm saving the planet by repairing them and making a bit of money on the side, you know. That's my contribution to society. But yeah, I'm still going to be able to do it. I'm still going to do it because each one that you repair makes you feel good, and you can get, you know, maybe $100 for each one. And you can get them cheap because they don't work and people don't value them. And eventually, maybe I'll have enough time to learn the ins and outs of it. It can't be that complicated, right? These are old fucking 80s technology. It's all plastic, really. So it can't be that hard to get these repaired properly and working. It's literally just a time thing for me. And yeah, but I say to you, if you find portable cassette players out in the wild, try and only buy the good branded ones. Like, I wouldn't buy an unbranded one. You want a Sony, you want like whatever other brands, like a Panasonic, but try and aim for Sony, just because it's the one that would stand the test of time, just because they're made so well, and also because it's the one that people would have had back in the day. So try and get a Sony one, and then just look online for how to repair it. Start with the belt and then move on from there. It's usually the belt. I say that as somebody that has repaired one, so it's usually the belt. And yeah, try and do that. It doesn't take much to get into it. It doesn't take much money to get into it. Just fucking try it, right? But yeah, something else that doesn't take much is Polly Pockets, and the Polly Pocket sales continue to roll. And I think by the end of this year, that Polly Pocket deal that I made may turn out to be like the best purchase of the entire year. I sold 2 this week, and they were a combined sale. They're so fucking small, these ones. They were 5 centimeters in diameter. They sold for $150. They're so small that they fit in the satchel, which is below the extra small Australia Post satchel. So the smaller one than that, the satchels are so small that I could barely write the full address on it. So they were the vintage Polly Pockets. They were called Polly Loves Bear, Polly Loves Puppy. They were both complete. They were both in a collection that I paid $250 for. These ones sold for $150. I think in total now from that deal, I've made in excess of $600. I've easily doubled my money, and it's been, what, 2 weeks? Maybe a tiny bit more than 2 weeks. So I'm going to make a ton of money with these Polly Pockets. I still have like thousands of dollars worth of these left. They have a ton of views on eBay. The watches are also going crazy. The person that asked me, I think last week, if I would accept a bulk deal or like a one-off payment for all of them, never got back to me. That would have been worth a couple of $1,000s. Maybe it was too rich for her, but that's fine. I'm selling them individually, and that's what makes the most money. I have to say, I really, really hope that the person that bought these is like a collector and is going to display them. I really don't want them to be gifted to a kid. And I'll tell you why. Because I actually gifted my almost 2-year-old niece a vintage Polly Pocket with 2 figurines. And it was one of the ones that weren't worth that much money. I was like, oh, I think she's going to love them. And, you know, she did love them. She honestly did. She was playing with them. She was like doing the little imaginative play, kept her off the iPad. Like, really fucking cool to see her doing this, because I don't think, like, the gifts that I've been giving her, they've been like baby gifts, you know what I mean? Like, there haven't been anything like this. So to see her open up the Polly Pocket and then grab the little figure and play with it, it was like really cute. And it's like opening it up to like, oh, I can get her like real presents moving forward, right? However, with that said, it's been about 3 weeks since I gave it to her, and since then, the dolls they've been bitten, they've been chewed. I'm pretty sure one of them has been lost. The compact has been stepped on, and I'm not kidding. Polly Pocket that I gave her, it had a tree, right? The tree was bitten off. The tree was bitten off and it's been reapplied. So they've been through the fucking wars, and I cannot imagine how these things have survived the past 30 years. Because with my niece, it lasted. I mean, it's still alive, but it's like it's been through the fucking wars, and these things are like 30 years old. So I can't imagine how these are being stored, or like, I just really hope the person that bought that isn't going to be gifting it to a kid. It's just I can't believe she bit the tree off. Like, what are you doing, bro? Biting the tree off a Polly Pocket? Man. Anyway, a couple other sales I'll go through real quick. The other portable cassette player, Panasonic Walkman, sold. It was just for parts. Sold for $50. I think that concludes all of the portable cassette players. Oh no, there's still one left that I'm going to attempt to repair. When I say attempt to repair, I mean buy a belt and install it. So that one sold for $50. That was just for parts. Got it for free. The other thing that sold this week was for a lady's daughter's birthday, and look, it's not a big sale. It was $2 into $50. It was a Winnie the Pooh LCD watch, but what I really like about this and why I picked it up, it's because it's a late 90s watch, and it's by the company Playworks. Now, I've talked about Playworks before, and I fucking love this brand, right? It was around in the late 90s, early 2000s, and it seems like Playworks had the licensing to every single pop culture piece of merchandise out there, at least here in Australia. So if you find anything pop culture from that era, you're going to see the Playworks logo on the back, and it can be very collectible. And I thought at one point in time I was going to start collecting these Playworks LCD watches, because I really like the fact that they're all on the cards. Sometimes they have nice artwork on them. The LCD watches are really cute. If you want to see a photo, jump onto the newsletter. But yeah, look out for that Playworks logo. You can usually turn it, I mean, I turned this $2 watch into $50. It's on the card. That probably adds to the value. But yeah, that was sold. And also the jersey that I picked up last week, the Waratahs rugby jersey that I picked up for $5 in a Salvos, sold for $50. It was really, really quick on Facebook Marketplace, and it's exactly why I love picking up jerseys, because they sell so fucking fast. They take so little effort to photograph. They're easy to ship, and they're just out the door so quickly. And the cool thing about this was when the guy messaged me on Marketplace, he was like, is this still available? And I go through my spiel. I have the little keyboard replacement on, so I can just press YIIA, and it changes my text into, hey there, yes, is it still available? Pickup would be from my suburb, or I can post. And usually I tell people I can post it for $10 for standard or $15 for express. This guy said to me before I could get into my spiel, post please, I normally pay $15 to post. If okay, please send account details. I'm like, hell yeah, I just got an extra $5 out of this. So that guy bought that, total $65 including postage. I would have made about like $47 or something from it. Jerseys are always so fucking good to me. And the other one that I found that week is doing really well on Marketplace, so it won't be long before it sells. It was a Sydney Roosters jersey on Marketplace, man. 516 clicks, 16 saves, 1 share. contrary to eBay where it has 6 views. So I bought these knowing that I was going to put them on Marketplace because that's where the Jersey buyers are. Just trust your gut when it comes to that sort of stuff. If you think something's going to do really well on Marketplace but not too well on eBay, just do it anyway. Sell on Marketplace. Why not? You don't have to pay the fees then. Speaking of Marketplace, just really quick, I found this $5 Sony CD player on Marketplace maybe a month or two ago. I picked it up because it had comps in the $100 range, but this lady was selling it for $5. And for me, I think the best items to flip on Marketplace are the ones that I would never buy in store for full retail price. And that's not because they're low quality. Sony is such a good brand, but because in store, their regular retail price is always outside of my budget range. Like you see a CD player, a Sony one $100, or jump into Kmart and get one for $15. Quality isn't there, but you know, when you're like pressed for time or you don't want to be spending too much money, you just go for that $15 one, right? So if I see one of those sort of out of my budget brands on Marketplace for $5, I know for a fact it's going to be worth more. I'm all over it. So this portable CD player, bought for $5. I picked it up from what was like a childcare center, and I guess the buyer was thinking, oh well, it's just a boring CD player, no one's going to want it, so I listed it for $5. And yeah, it sells every single day for $100. That's what I sold mine for. But look, this type of item, a fucking CD player, it's not scooped up on Facebook within the first 5 minutes, like I've said before with like the gaming consoles and that sort of shit. But you can still make similar sorts of money. Like, it's, yes, a boring CD player. People are buying the video games, the Pokemon shit, but like, the radios, televisions, any other electronic, they all can be bought and sold fairly quickly. Like, it's a really great introductory category. And if you want to like try and train your Facebook algorithm, which I've talked about in the past, for Sony or like CD players, Facebook is going to feed you those Sony and those CD players. And there's no reason why you can't start flipping them, right? If you got a $5 and a way to pick up a radio or a CD player, you can flip it on eBay for $100, just like I've done. Like, it's not fucking rocket science, right? And a lot of resellers are going to say to people that are getting into the industry, like, start with selling items from around your house, which is fine. That's good. Get to know your market that way. I agree. But then from there, expand and say flip items that you wish were around your house. Like, how many times I wanted to buy a Sony branded product, but I settled for a lesser known brand because it's cheaper. Like, use that information to your advantage. Like, if you know prices, you can act fast and beat out the others. But at the same time, it's a fucking CD player. You're not beating out that many people. Like, if you have a standard Anko kettle, a standard Kmart kettle, but you've always wanted a Smeg, like you've had a Smeg bookmarked in your browser for so long, you just need to save up the amount for a Smeg. You know what the price is. That's fucking knowledge in your brain. You know the value of a Smeg. So look out for it on Marketplace. See it for $10. You know, and you know if you want it, you have to pay like $100 in store. It's within your range. You can fucking act on it. So do that. Take my advice. Look for these sort of items. They might be boring items, but man, you can make money with them. And you know, somebody that's sniping up a video game bundle, buying like a PlayStation 2 for $100 and then selling it for $200, those fucking margins, that profit is like the exact same as this boring ass Sony CD player. So, you know, just think about that, right? Anyway, the last sale, I know I've been dragging on for a bit. It's a Twilight Blu-ray, and I'm talking about this because Twilight really goes hard when it comes to things like special editions. In the Flip Weekly newsletter, it's issue 46 if you want to go back, I talked about a rare Twilight box set that can sell for over $150. That's the book. You see the book everywhere in thrift stores, but if you find a specific Twilight box set, that's where you can make the money. And again, it blends in with everything else. So the thrift stores look over it, everyone else looks over it, but you can buy it. And I bought it and I made a ton of money. So this week it was a Blu-ray box set of Twilight. And it sold for $94.95. And then the buyer had to pay postage on top. So it's over $100 just for the fucking Twilight movies. And collectors love this specific version of the Blu-rays because, get this, the discs are tucked inside a little art book. That's it. It's just inside a fucking little art book, and they open it up and they're like, oh my god, there's Bella and Edward and Jacob, and they're all on teams for some reason. They're playing sports. I don't know, but that's it. Sold it for $94. I think I paid. What did I pay? I paid $15. I don't know why I paid so much or why it was marked up, but yeah, it's still after postage, after fees, you're still making like $70, $80. So just keep that in the back of your mind that anything Twilight that looks a bit different, take your time to look it up because the Twilight still goes fucking hard. Now it's time for secondhand opinions. Now last week I asked you, or it might have been the week before, because last week was my story about SEO and selling a website for a bit of money. I asked if you overcharge a buyer with shipping, do you refund the difference? Now, I'd looked at the poll results a bit earlier, and majority of you said that you'll just leave it, which is fine, which is what I'll do. Just leave it. You've made a bit of money. The buyer's paid a bit more. It's no big deal. But I was surprised that like it wasn't overwhelming. It was like 78% to whatever the other amount is. So a fair amount of people were like, I'll refund the difference. I was surprised to see that. You know, you're the type of person that I would love to buy from. You know, who doesn't love a message saying they're getting a refund? Like, you're a better person than me, right? So yeah, that was a surprise. But this week, you know, after getting back to garage sales for the first time in a while, I wanted some feedback, right? Like, I want to ask you a question. It's, have you noticed garage sale prices being more in tune with eBay prices lately? You know, like I said, I haven't been to them in a while. I'm wondering, are buyers like holding the sales to make money? Like, has the economy shifted that much that the garage sales now aren't so much to declutter, but they're to make money? Like, are all of the buyers comping everything that they have? Or they're spending more time looking up values because of the cost of living crisis, and people don't have that much spare money? I mean, apart from the fucking drug rep collectors, right? People that need a Viagra plate in their life. So yeah, just let me know. I'm very curious about that. If you've been to garage sales lately, let me know if the prices are eBay prices or they've been looked up. Yeah, because like I said, the garage sale trail's coming up, and I'm hoping that the trail is filled with people that aren't looking up eBay prices so we can make bank again. But that's all I've got for you this week. Check out Flip Weekly on social media for the videos. Check out the newsletter if you haven't subscribed. I'll see you again next week. Thanks for tuning in.
Flip, 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 Flip Weekly.